Hi guys. Okay, so I wanted to go over safety in floral design with you. I know that it seems a little bit silly because you're distance learning and you're out here, but safety is going to be very important when you get in here and when you start doing labs and when we start working out in the greenhouse. Not just for your own safety, which is obviously a priority, but also for everybody else's safety as well. So if there's a rule, there's a reason. I'm going to go ahead and get through these notes for you. Remember, your assignment for this is a flyer, some sort of safety poster that's going into your interactive notebook that you would post in a floral design studio. Okay, and so that's the end result of these notes. And then obviously you will have a safety exam as well. You need to pass the safety exam with 100%. Mr. Swift, you guys don't know him. He was an older teacher here. He was the shop teacher, and he always said the difference in the shop, because you are working with very sharp machinery, the difference between 80% and 100% is 2 fingers. So if you didn't get that, then look up percentages. If you did get that, then you understand what I'm saying. And so safety is really, really important. And while we kind of joke about, the whole finger thing, it really isn't funny. And so that's why we go over this as soon as we can. And so that's what we're going to do now. So if there's a rule, there's a reason. It's because I don't want you or someone else to get hurt. So overall rules: return tools and supplies to their original location before leaving class. And this doesn't seem like necessarily a safety rule, although my sanity was probably part of everybody's safety. And so let's try to put those things back. I don't teach floral design all day long. I have, 5 other classes. I have 5 classes total. Only 2 are floral design. One is advanced, and then the other 2 are science classes. But it's really important that those items get put away after every single period. All tools and supplies are to remain in the classroom at all times. Please, no borrowing. Don't even ask, because then I feel guilty and I have to say no, and I don't like to do that. So just don't even ask. And that goes for everything. That goes for paint and art supplies. Those things are purchased with specific funds, and those things must stay in specific classrooms. Okay? Never poke anyone with anything sharp. I know this seems like kind of common sense, but it apparently isn't, because I've had it happen many times. And so again, if you wouldn't want to be poked with something sharp, don't poke anybody else. Never throw any supplies or tools they can hurt, blow up, or break. And when it says blow up, I'm talking about like the helium tank. We don't work a lot with helium anymore, mostly because we have a shortage of helium. It is not a renewable resource. And so, and it's used for medical as well. And so like MRIs and CAT scans and things like that. I don't like to use something for a luxury that needs to be used for things like medical. Okay, so I don't really use helium a lot. But we do have a helium tank, so that's why that safety tip is in there. Use all tools only as directed by the instructor, and that's going to be on a case-by-case basis as well, and we'll talk about that kind of as we go here. Be careful and pay attention when using dangerous items, and let's just assume that everything is dangerous, okay? That way you follow the rules. Beware of any danger. Clean all tools when finished. Again, not so much a safety thing that you think about, but if you're using, like in the next slide, we talk about knives. If it's gunky and dirty, it's not going to work properly, and that makes it dangerous. Okay. If you don't know how to use something, for the love of Pete, please ask me. Okay. Or how about this? Don't use it until I tell you, what to do. So those are just some kind of general overview. So specific instructions for knives. Dull knives are more dangerous than sharp knives. And the reason is because if you have a dull knife and you're like sawing away at something, it becomes more dangerous because you can like slip and hurt yourself. If it's a sharp knife, obviously sharp knives are dangerous as well, but you're not going to be sawing away at something, okay? So when you're using a knife, and in this case, we'll use floral foam knives. In fact, I have one right here. This is a floral foam knife. That's the sharp edge. It's not really that sharp because it's cutting foam, but you could cut yourself with it, like if you really, tried, I guess. Anyway, and so it's this exact width of a piece of floral foam. I'll show you what that is when we do tool ID, but those are the knives we work with. Keep fingers away from the edge of the blade, not like I just did. Do not leave the knives unattended at the table. And the reason why is, other than somebody accidentally hitting them and them flying across the room, somebody may not know that there's, maybe there's not a knife sitting in the middle of markers or something, and they go to put everything away and they grab the knife, and then you end up with a problem. Do not walk with a knife in your hand. This is pretty common sense, I think, but I do have this happen sometimes. Knives should be at the table. They should not be walking around my classroom for obvious purposes. Clean the knife before using, especially if there's any oils on them. That can mess up the blade and the metal. And do not talk with a knife in your hand. As you can see, I talk with my hands, okay? I can't imagine that most people don't. Don't talk with a knife in your hand, because you might be like sword fighting with somebody by the end of it. Do not put the knife in your pocket or bag. One, because you don't want it in your pocket and sit down, okay? And two, you don't want to walk out of this classroom with a knife, because it can be considered a weapon, okay? And you're not supposed to walk out of the classroom with tools, so. Scissors and shears. So these are floral shears. Okay, the metal ones are floral shears. And again, I'll go over those types of things when we do tool ID in the future. This is just a regular set of scissors, fabric scissors. Okay, so those are the things I'm talking about right now. Do not cut anything other than flowers and supplies with the scissors and shears. This is not a cosmetology class. We do not cut hair. Okay, it's not a fashion class. We do not cut clothes. So please make sure that those things stay intact. Do not use them as a screwdriver. You would be very surprised to know that some people try to use them as a screwdriver. So I don't know if I have anything with a screw in front of me, but actually I do have this. So see this screw here? The way you could use it as a screwdriver is if you were doing this. But we don't want to do that, because you're going to mess up the shear, and you're going to mess up the other things too. So never do that. If you need a screwdriver, I have some tools in this classroom. Do not put the shears in your pocket or your bag. Again, for the same reasons, we don't want them out of this classroom. Dropping shears will break the ends and destroy the adjustment. If you drop these are $25, $28, almost $30 now, probably, dollars. It seems expensive for scissors. It's because they are floral shears. But if you drop them, this part of the shears, okay, the screw part, can become loose. And once it's loose, it's nearly impossible to fix. And then it costs $30. And I don't have that much money to be spending on things like scissors and shears. I like to spend money on flowers for you guys. So let's not break those scissors and shears now if it's an accident, obviously. But let's do our best, okay? Do not cut wire with scissors. We use wire cutters. And in fact, I don't have any wire cutters sitting in front of me, but I'll show you what they are when we do tool ID. Again, do not cut wire with scissors or shears. We use wire cutters. Very important. Wire. Please don't waste wire. So it's green floral wire. And again, I'll show you when we do tool ID. But it's kind of a pain in the butt to pick up off this floor. So I have acrylic nails, and that doesn't help. I can't even pick up pennies off of the floor. So little pieces of wire, I can't pick them up. So please, please, please don't leave them on the floor. And don't mix the different sizes. We have 3 or 4 different sizes, and if you mix them, you will need to separate them. I just don't have time to be separating gauges of wire. And when I say gauges of wire, that might be confusing to you. I'll explain it when we do tool ID. A lot of this will be explained with tool ID as far as the specific tools go. Cut wire has sharp ends. Duh. I mean, obviously, okay? Always use a half a piece of wire, which is 9 inches, if I did that math correctly. A full-size wire is 18, half piece would be 9. And so there will only be one time you will use a full 18 inches of wire, and that will be in the spring, and hopefully you guys are back by then. So don't worry about that at this point, but okay, so only a half a piece of wire. Glue guns. I don't really use pan glue. I know it says pan glue. I don't really use it, but it's in here in the case that we do. I love working with crafts and things like that. I don't like so much working with silk flowers, but it is part of this class, and so that's really what we use the hot glue gun for. So a couple of safety rules. Do not lay the hot glue gun on its side if it is turned on. And the reason being is because all of that stuff can leak out, and it just causes a huge mess. Don't pull the glue stick out of the back of the glue gun. Again, one, you're going to get burned. Okay. But two, you're going to cause a huge mess. Keep your fingers away from the tip of the glue gun. That's the hottest part of the glue gun. That's the part that's actually melting the glue as it comes out. And so it's going to be hot and you will burn yourself. Okay. Always work in the designated area when using glue guns. I have in this classroom, and I'll do kind of another video to kind of show you the classroom, but I have 3 countertops on in this classroom. And so that's where I use the glue guns at, and that's where they'll stay. Same with the pan glue if we were to use that. If glue gets on your fingers, blow on it. I know that this sounds silly. Like the first thing you want to do is like, you know, if it gets hot here, the first thing you want to do is go, oh, and because it hurts, you know, but don't do that, because if you do that, you're going to burn both of, you know, pieces of your hand, parts of your hand. You want to like either blow it off or stick it directly under cold water to get it, you know, cooled off. After, as far as when we're done with the glue guns, after you have unplugged it, let it cool, you can then wrap the cord around the glue gun and we'll put them in the glue gun storage. For the glue pan, it's like a tiny little electric skillet, and you put glue in it, not hot glue. There's specific kinds of glue that you use. And you use like the tongue depressors or like the popsicle sticks to apply it. But we don't want to take that applicator out because it's going to get a mess. So you're just going to leave that applicator in the glue pan. Remove extra glue from the object before removing from the pan. Just like with the glue gun, you know, if you're gluing something, you're going to kind of bring it around like this so that it like stops stringing. Same with the applicator, you just kind of bring it around like this, and because it gets kind of stringy. So it just kind of wraps it back around the glue applicator or the tip of the glue gun. We just don't want glue to drip everywhere. We try to keep like a paper plate or something like that underneath so that the glue drips on that, not so that it drips on the countertops, because we don't want it on the countertops. Do not leave the pan turned on if the glue level is low. You need to refill the glue level or unplug the pan. Okay? Same thing with glue guns. Don't leave it just sitting there with no glue in it, because that's not safe to have things plugged in. The cooler. So I don't have a cooler inside of my room. I have a really large cooler outside in our floral storage. It's about 25 years old, but the cooler part, so the walls are like 25 years, well, actually probably 30 now. The cooler part is a brand new, and it's a $10,000 cooler. It was very, very expensive. So we need to make sure that we use the cooler properly. And when you are allowed to use the cooler, you're going to need to make sure that you're using it, you know, like closing the doors and turning the lights off and things like that, and making sure things are clean. So again, don't use it without permission, please. There is no reason for a student to be messing with the thermostat in any capacity. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know where the thermostat is. So I can't imagine that anybody else is going to be able to find it either. But by the same token, let's just leave it alone, okay? Clean up any mess or spill in or around the refrigerator. And the reason why is because, like, if something spills or if a leaf gets wet and yucky, it can make somebody slip, and we would hate for somebody to slip on that concrete and hit their head. So you need to make sure that all spills are cleaned up at all times. Make sure all flowers in the bucket are still in water. What happens if you've got a flower, picture a flower in a vase, right? Got all these flowers. If you pull one flower out, 10 are going to come with it, okay? Same thing in the bucket. When you pull one, all of them come with it. So we need to make sure that when you take yours, you put the rest of them all back into water, because, again, flowers are expensive. The more money I have to spend on flowers, the less flowers you get. The cooler is not for personal use. Please do not ask me to store your lunch in the cooler. First of all, it's not a refrigerator. It's actually set at a higher temperature and a much higher humidity than a regular refrigerator, and it will make your food mildew, so that's pretty gross. But also because it's for flowers, and your food can actually harm the flowers. Food, more specifically fruits, they give off what's called an ethylene gas, and that is basically what helps fruit to ripen. So, like, you know how when you go to the grocery store and you get hard avocados, I swear I never get the good avocados. I always get hard avocados. But what you can do is you put them in a paper bag, you roll it up, you set it on the counter for 10, 12, maybe 24 hours. By the time you're done, you open that bag up and that avocado is going to be ripened. what happens is that bag holds in the ethylene gas that the avocado is giving off. And that's what helps the avocado ripen. And so if we say put that avocado in my cooler, it will not just ripen the avocado, but it will also ripen all of my flowers. And by ripen, I mean it will make them go bad faster. I hope that that makes sense, but that's why we don't store food in the cooler. So no food might be placed in the cooler. Okay, water. We will be working with water a lot. Part of the reason I do wear acrylic nails because my hands are constantly in water in this classroom, and yours will be too. If you get anything wet, please dry it off. Don't just like leave a puddle lying around on the floor. Somebody's gonna slip, okay? A courtesy, common courtesy. Do not drip flowers or foliage across the room when removing them from buckets. I know that that's a little bit hard, and we'll work together on that. But again, if you spill it, just clean it up, okay? Watering buckets could have preservative in them, so don't drink it. I'm not sure why anybody would want to drink bucket water, but you know, it's there just in case. All right. Aerosol cans. Honestly, I hate aerosol cans. I hate using the floral paint. I can't stand it because I don't like the way it smells, and I don't like the way it makes flowers look. However, there are some cases that we must color flowers. Sometimes flowers don't come the right color. Sometimes, you know, they just need to be a little bit darker. Sometimes that's what the person wants, the customer. And we do a lot of customer work in this classroom. And so I have paint cans. Now, they're not like your Home Depot paint cans, okay? You can't just go down to Home Depot and grab a can of spray paint and spray your flowers. You're going to kill them. It is for flowers. It is very specific and very expensive spray paint for flowers. And so we have to make sure that we follow the rules for that. So keep away from all heat sources. That is a given with any aerosol can. Well, that's a given with anything, but definitely an aerosol can. Always spray outside unless otherwise instructed. You will never be instructed to spray in this classroom. It will always be outside. Do not spray towards yourself or someone else. Do not spray near the building, sidewalk, or plants. If we're outside, there's a grass area, I'll put like some cardboard down and I can help you spray them, okay? If you paint something that you should not have painted, you will be responsible, okay? Spray away from the wind. Again, it's a given, but it happens, okay? Clean glue cans before use. So the way you can do that is you would take, well, actually, you need to clean it after use as well. But basically, if this was the aerosol can, you would turn it upside down and spray it until clear came out. And that's how you can unclog the sprayer. And I kind of do that with like all of my paint cans. I just kind of turn all cans in general. I just turn them over. Shake paint cans before use, but never shake glue cans. Okay. Replace the cap and when not in use. We have more caps that go missing out of this classroom. I do not know where they go, but we have a cap thief in here. So if you can please replace those caps when you're done, I would appreciate it. For goodness sakes, don't puncture the cans. Do not throw the cans in the garbage can. I recycle them. They must be recycled. So please make sure if you're done with something, you give it to me. Do not inhale the fumes. We're not in one of those classes. I don't know that they have those classes, but they shouldn't. We don't inhale fumes in here. So it's just an absolute no-no, and you will be written up. All floral aerosol cans are environmentally safe and have been for actually, that's probably closer to 20 to 25 years. This is a little bit on the old side. Use only as directed. This is not a fashion design class. Do not spray your hair. Do not spray your clothes. Do not spray your shoes. Again, you would be surprised at the kind of things I've seen come out of this classroom that are not supposed to be painted. All right. So that's the end of our slideshow. And I just want to, again, if you need to like go back, pause, write things down for your interactive notebook, please feel free to do that. I ask that if you are going to use any pictures, that you use the works cited at the end of your interactive notebook. So anything that you get off of the internet, that website needs to go in the works cited page. By the time we're done, you're probably going to need more than one page for works cited, but for now we'll just do the one. Anyway, so just to add that website, it doesn't have to be fancy or anything, just needs to be in there so that I know where you got those things. And that includes any images because otherwise it is plagiarism. So we need to be really, really careful with that. I hope that this all made sense. I hope that you are all ready for safety protocol when you get here. And I cannot wait to have you in class. Have a great, great day.